Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos. He's Dr. Eric Law and she's Dr. Melissa Behringer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And welcome to Troy, Alabama.
Thank you. I'm enjoying being here.
Dr. Behringer, is good to see you, my good friend, and
Glad
doctor.
to see you as well. Excuse me.
Best doctor in the world right there, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, I'm going to get free medical attention next time I see you. Is that
Exactly right.
I was with Dr. McRae, of course, the ear, nose, and throat doctor. He and I went to Nebraska. And I said, surely I ought to get some free medical advice while we're here. And I couldn't hardly talk, I was having all that trouble and everything. And he said, well, what you need to do is just come by my office one day next week. How's everything going?
It's going well. I'm settling in, learning. Probably for me, the hardest part is trying to learn a new computer system or two new computer systems and how to document the patient care I've been doing since I finished training. I finished training in '95, so not a new doctor, but just new to this practice.
Of course, you're joining the staff of Dr. Eric Law, and Dr. Law, tell us a little bit about her.
Oh, Dr. Behringer is great. She comes through very much the same training that I'm from, and as we were saying, she's an excellent fit for the practice. She's very much of the same heart that everyone else at Southern Health Associates is, which is to say, very patient-centered, going to sit down and take time and review the whole patient. She's like the rest of us, not going to be a quick in and out when it's not necessary. Now, that's not to say we can't see urgent things urgently, but people want whole patient health care, and that's what she's about. Plus, we stress preventative care. And we practice what's known in sort of in healthcare as the patient-centered medical home style, which is to say a lot of preventative care and basically a hub for your healthcare where we're helping you with subspecialists and not just letting you fend for yourself.
Seemed like only yesterday that you were started building your practice here in Troy, and how long have you, 6 years or something?
Yes, sir, 6.5 years, yes, sir.
And I tell you what, before long, we're going to have to start adding on, isn't he?
Yeah, we hope so.
Now, this is your practice?
Well, so Dr. Pearlstein is the...
and you and Dr. Pearlstein are partners, is that right? Or?
Yes, sir, well, virtually, yes, sir.
I mean, y'all in the same building?
Correct, that's correct, yes, sir.
Very close.
Yes, sir.
And of course, now you'll be working with Dr.
Pearlstein and Dr. Law and Dr.
Law.
Trantham.
Oh, so you'll be all there together.
That's
is that
exactly
Yes,
right. Yes, sir.
And of course, Melissa is already working. Is that right?
I am. I'm seeing patients not only at Southern Health Associates. I am now following and seeing their Southern Health Associate patients in the hospital and in the nursing home and rehabilitation setting, both at Troy Rehab and in Luverne.
So it gives you even a better coverage of your patients, and that's something that you're already everybody's so familiar with. The time you give your patients, you'll give them even more now, won't you?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, that's a big deal, and it's something people really want in medicine these days. It's very hard to find a practice that offers inpatient and outpatient care. It's in medicine we're just more and more stretched these days, and so keeping that going will be a big deal. Patients like it because they know who's seeing them, they know they're going to get the same person regularly, and they also like it because their medical records come with them. The office or medical records are accessible from the hospital, so that things aren't being missed in translation and in picking it up. I should say the hospital, we're very fortunate now. We've already gotten one very good full-time hospitalist back in, and I think there's another probably on the way. So the hospital is in good stead for hospitalist care, but for us to have one of our own from Southern Health seeing patients there is an excellent service to offer.
Yeah, I see it as going from your office to the hospital. You're going to have somebody regular seeing patients at the hospital and the nursing home, which that's one place that when they do go off to the nursing homes, that they're continuing to get care. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And that's a service we have not offered in our practice in quite a while. So we're very excited. And Dr. Behringer, and she can speak to this, but I think she's got a ton of experience in long-term care as well as obviously inpatient care.
Yeah. Well, you go way back with this guy, don't you? Tell us about it.
I was teaching in the residency program in Huntsville, and when student Dr. Law was looking for residencies, he came to Huntsville and interviewed with our residency program, and we were really impressed with him, but he decided to stay in Tuscaloosa. Can't blame him. When I went through the same process, I stayed in Tuscaloosa too. So.
But now, you know, at one time you were in orthopedic medicine at one time, weren't you?
Well, primary care sports medicine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But now, of course, you cover everything. Is that right?
That's correct. Family medicine, we do a broad scope of practice from pediatrics and neonates to the elderly. We still do, or actually I still do primary care sports medicine here in Troy at the office, which is to say sprains and strains, some chronic pain like arthritis, and even some fracture care.
Yeah. Of course, you work with some of the teams here too, don't you?
Yes, sir. I was on the sidelines Friday night with Charles Henderson, and actually made my way over to see another school's athlete as well. So.
Yeah. Of course, tell us your opinion of this young doctor.
Well, I mean, number one, I'm impressed with Dr. Law. He's everything that I thought he was going to be when I first met him coming out of medical school. I'm really impressed and pleased with Southern Health. There's the whole continuity of care was something that I really kept pushing and wanted to get done, and was difficult to do. But there's only so much that can be relayed by a discharge summary on a piece of paper or looking at stuff in computers. To actually go to be able to walk in the door and tell Dr. Law that his patient's in the hospital, here's what's going on, do you have any insights into why this might be happening, so that I don't have to kind of start from scratch, makes a big difference. And I think they appreciate knowing exactly what happened with their patients in the hospital as well, because when the patients come back for follow-up, they're not starting from scratch.
Another thing is 2 doctors and sometimes 3 doctors are seeing that patient. Isn't that right?
Sure. Yes, sir.
And can three people diagnosing a problem is better than one, wouldn't you say?
I always tell patients if you're discouraged from getting a second opinion or a second set of eyes on a problem, that's probably not a good thing.
Well, I tell you what, demeanor. When doctors, you know, some of them are rough. You carry your medicine with great class, and you really do.
Well, you know, patients often, when they come to the physician, they're coming at their worst times. They're coming when they feel their worst, and so approaching each patient the way you'd want to be approached, and with the care and concern, and giving them the time that you would want spent with you is vital. If someone can get good care, a good diagnosis, I guess I should say, a good prescription, but if they don't walk away feeling cared for, you've missed part of the point of it.
No question about it. And you know, the thing I like about you more than anything is that if you're sick, you'll see them. You know, I mean, you know, you always can say, well, I don't feel good. I'm going to see if I can get in and see Dr. Law. And I know a lot of times people catch you very busy, but you seem like you always find time to see your patients.
And I think that's something that the whole practice really stresses is, and that's part of the patient-centered medical home practice style, is accessibility. You want patients to be able to get in and see you for those urgent problems, for sick visits, as well as for scheduled visits. And for that reason, we intentionally leave open spots on the schedule to work people.
Well, in fact, we'll do something special this morning. We're going to let both of these doctors diagnose my problem. You know, I have had this, you know, in my throat and not be able to talk very good all week long. Is that going on around here?
Absolutely. I'm seeing a fair amount of it.
What do you think it is? Is it?
What it is it's a virus. Usually once school gets back into session, everybody who is scattered for the summer and gone back to wherever they're from collect up whatever the new bugs are, and then they bring them back to the school and then generously share them around. So
all right, now let me ask you
happens.
this. One thing you could say, well, antibiotic, but the same, not all is the case of an antibiotic. It can be just how do you determine whether it needs to have an antibiotic or just have medicine?
That's an excellent question, and it's extremely important. You know, if you check the news, you'll see increasingly, and I won't name all of them, but there are several bacteria that have become quite resistant to antibiotics, and that's largely the fault of the medical community, overuse of antibiotics, poor stewardship of antibiotics, and so if every time you go in to see a physician with a runny nose or a cough or a sore throat, if every time you go in you get an antibiotic, that's probably not appropriate. And even though you yourself may not feel the bad effects of that, the system as a whole and people down the road will see the effects of it.
I don't hurt at all. I don't even have a sore throat. What is this?
It's called laryngitis.
You think it is laryngitis?
And it's almost always due to a virus.
But
yeah.
And it just goes on and on. Is that right?
It takes about a week and a half to get over it. It's the
Yeah.
same thing in adults that we call croup in little kids.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. The crud or croup. Well, it's more croup than anything because I don't have as much, mucus or whatever you want to call it. You know.
Yeah. And there are several viruses going around right now. We've seen a lot of hand, foot, and mouth in kids. There's a nasty GI bug starting to go around, and this upper respiratory virus that we've seen so much of.
Well, welcome to Troy. Have you gotten? You've already started your practice. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And seen a lot of patients.
Seeing some patients.
Yeah, exactly.
It's picking up.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's just like he's in medical school. He's got a lot of people walking around with him. You ever notice that?
Oh yeah, I have noticed that.
And which I think is great.
And
We pay it forward.
Yeah.
People did that for us
Yeah.
when we were medical students and residents. They shared their wisdom and experience and knowledge with us, and you pay it forward. That's how new doctors come in.
I like, I feel like you're on top of everything. You know, like I go in at different times of the year to have blood work done and so forth, and you seem to be staying on top of these things. Like he said today, he said your blood sugar looks a lot better.
Right.
You know, a patient wants to hear that. You know, I want to hear some positive things. You know?
There are things that go on in a primary care office that you'll never see, which is first thing in the morning when we come in, we may sign off on 60 or 80 labs from the day before. I'll probably sign off on 20 or 30 notes from other physicians coming in from where you went out and saw your endocrinologist or your neurologist or your orthopedist. They send notes back to us so that we can stay on top of it and help make sure that we're your medical home, that we have your records, that we know what's going on with you and can help coordinate care.
Now, you also work with folks in Luverne, is that right?
Yes, sir. Dr. Behringer is seeing patients at the Luverne Nursing Home now as well.
Well, that's good. Do you like that?
Oh, I enjoy that.
It's a very good place, too, isn't it?
Oh,
It is-
excellent.
I was very impressed with it.
Yeah. So we got everything covered within here. And what? Okay, we're going to take a short break, but of course we'll just shut it down right here on this. But what brought you to bring her into your practice?
Well, it's a couple of things that came together. very.
At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military. That's right, not a $1,000 sign-on bonus, but $1,200 sign-on bonus at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military.
When you are handed the key to a new Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick or GMC, rev up your imagination. Think of all the places you can go in some of the most stylish, best quality cars available on the market today. Feel confident driving vehicles with superb dependability and safety ratings. And smile. You saved a ton of money because you bought at Bill Jackson. Let the only thing holding you back be the end of the road. A Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC vehicle will not only change your life, it saves you money like nowhere else.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Our community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
Check out these cool savings going on now during our hot summer sale at your local Troy and Ozark Road Mart, like our $29.99 oil change special or our $129.99 brake special. We'll also keep you cool during these hot days of summer with our $29.99 AC special. So come see us and take advantage of these hot summer specials at your friendly Troy and Ozark Road Mart, where we've been serving our friends and neighbors all over the Wiregrass since 1974.
Back to our show, and brought to you by some great people at Hook's Barbecue, and I'm sure you have found out where that is.
Yes, sir. It was excellent.
How about Sisters? Have you been to Sisters?
I have not been to Sisters.
Oh boy, you're in for a treat at Sisters. Buffet every day now, you know.
Absolutely.
Except Saturday, and we appreciate them. Dr. Eric Law's with us today, and the new doctor in town is Melissa Behringer. And welcome to Troy, Alabama again.
Thank you.
What led you to want to come to Troy, Alabama?
I was looking to make a change. I've been in.
Tell us where you've been.
Well, when I came out of residency, I practiced for almost 3.5 years in Centerville, Alabama, and then was recruited to work for the branch campus of the UAB School of Medicine in Huntsville, and was there for 14 years.
Oh boy.
And then was asked to take over the residency, the UAB Family Medicine residency program in Selma, and was there for 4 years. But just, I was looking to make a little bit of a change outside of a big system. I started in small town medicine. I wanted to get back to small town medicine. I really, since I've started practicing, the whole concept of a patient-centered medical home and continuity of care really has blossomed, and it's a little hard to move a big system like UAB towards that.
Do you have a specialty, if you know, other than just?
Well, I have done extra training in 2 specific areas, in women's health issues.
That's very important.
We talked about Dr. Law did a family medicine, sports medicine training additionally. I actually did additional obstetrics and women's health training. So before I came here, I was delivering babies, doing C-sections and tubals, as well as doing some in-office procedures and women's health stuff. The other thing that I have done extra training in is there's actually a certification in for people who manage post-acute and long-term care, things like home health care, nursing homes, rehab, which is why I'm excited to get back into the nursing home. In 2 separate places, I was the medical director for 140-bed rehab and nursing home. And that again was a place where I could practice that continuity of care because I knew those patients.
This gives you, just adds a little more to your practice, isn't that right?
Oh, it sure does. And I tell you, for Dr. Perlstein, if he had a niche that he enjoyed an awful lot, especially it might be endocrine issues. Dr. Behringer with long-term health and women's care, and myself in sports medicine, it's not uncommon for us to walk across the office and say, hey, let me get your opinion on this. And I love that. It's very, very easy. It's one of the hard things. There aren't too many things that are especially challenging in small-town medicine or that I dislike. But one of the things that's hard is you feel like you get pulled away from the medical community as a whole. You feel sort of isolated. And so to have a practice where we've got several physicians who are good primary care physicians, but who have their own niche, it's exciting. And it really is nice to have another physician to we call it a curbside consult.
I think another positive, very positive thing, of course I'm a patient of Dr. Law's, is a full-service lab. Your lab, you've got it's getting bigger and bigger, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and we offer several things in-house, from microalbumin, which that's a urine test for protein, pick up early chronic kidney disease, to A1Cs and of course your rapid streps and flus, but also we work with Quest and through the hospital for. If we need a stat lab, a stat CBC or CMP, we can get that locally here through the hospital back in just an hour or two, and through Quest we can do pretty much anything else we want.
You've always advised me. I'm a diabetic too, and with Parkinson's disease, and he has been just so good to listen to my problems. But more than anything, I think it's so important to be well versed in what's wrong with a patient,
Yes, sir. It's
because you get reports from other doctors and all that. You want to make sure you know what's happening when you're seeing. You might be seeing a specialist and seeing you as a family doctor. You want to know, don't you?
That's right. And there are times where you're, for instance, a cardiologist may not have seen you recently enough for some new change, and we can help bridge that gap, because even a coronary artery disease patient, when they're stabilized, they're going to go to a once-a-year visit with a cardiologist. Things change more often than once a year sometimes.
So you're the primary doctor, and you're we want to know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
We're kind of like the quarterback of your healthcare team. We're not gonna. We may have to run the ball sometimes as opposed to handing it off. We may have to pass it. But we need to know what everybody else is doing to work together to make sure we've gotten everything straight. Dr. Law was speaking about a cardiologist, and a patient of ours came in unexpectedly in the hospital this weekend, and first thing I did Monday morning was call the patient's cardiologist and said, I know she's got an appointment for 1 year, and you need to see her sooner. And they went, fine.
How's the hospital set up now? Can you attend to patients in the hospital, or do you leave that up to the hospitalist? How does that work?
Well, so from Southern Health, whether you're admitted through the ER or admitted from our office directly, if you have an office visit and we deem that we really need a different level of care, and it directly admits you, you'll go under, I guess, 12 out of 14 days, something like that roughly, you'll go under Dr. Behringer's care. And then on some weekends, the hospitalist will cover. And I know the hospital has a new hospitalist, Dr. Diefendorfer. I've met her, and she's great. Came to us from Enterprise and trained here in the state at South Alabama, I believe. So Dr. Diefendorfer is great for the hospital, but we're glad that we've got someone who can help us have continuity with our patients. And it's a pretty usual conversation in the morning or at lunch. Hey, how's Miss Jones doing? Is the congestive heart failure, fluid overload issue, is that getting better? Or Dr. Behringer asking the question about her history. So
there's just only so much you can get out of a computer or out of printouts. You've got to have that face-to-face.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and of course, when you come from it naturally, your dad, everybody knows him and your mom, and tell us a little bit about their facility right next door to you.
Noble Manor, yes, sir. They have 3 assisted living buildings, including a memory care unit.
Is that what led you to go into medicine? Being around that.
Gosh, that's so being around Dad. My father was an X-ray technician for 32 years at the hospital here. And being around that was probably a large inspiration for me. I would tell anyone, if I have a sort of a hero on earth, it's probably my dad.
Yeah.
Dad taught me how and why to care for people.
He ran the X-ray department out of the hospital forever, and of course everybody knows Jimmy and Dale Law, and for assisted living, no better place than Noble Manor. In fact, you see the patients right there at Noble Manor. Is that right?
Do, yes, sir. It's a great setup where they can come down and see myself or Dr. Pearlstein, Dr. Behringer, or one of the nurse practitioners. And it's good access. They don't even have to get in the car most of the time.
Troy's a lot bigger than it looks. Isn't that right?
It's getting bigger every day.
Because not only with the university growing like it is, but the surrounding areas, and Troy's medical facilities are getting better every day, wouldn't you say?
Oh, they absolutely.
Have you been impressed with it?
I have been very impressed. There are things that, as healthcare providers, that we're interested in terms of setting up systems, because that makes sure things get done the correct way every time. And when those systems are in place, then you have what are called quality measures. And the quality measures for the hospital for things like urinary tract infections associated with catheters, for ventilator central line infections. They've had none in the past 2 years. And that's really almost unheard of, because they have set the systems up to move everything correctly.
So we're doing the right things with our hospital and with our medical care in Pine County. Is that right?
Not just the right things, but the right things at the right time, which is just as important.
That's right. Hope you we'll see a lot of you on and off on our show, and of course it just gives you another doctor in the office when you can't be there. Is that right?
Oh, that's right. And each of us are there for 5 days a week, and we're having to be creative with our office space now to make sure we have room for everybody 5 days a week. But it's worked out very well. And I'll say one other thing about talking about the hospital system. I'm sure you've met Ronnie Dean, the
I know him well, yeah.
CEO of the hospital, and
I sit with him at Rotary almost every day, every Tuesday.
I wish I could make it to Rotary, but they are bringing in some excellent services through the hospital, and one of them, the newest one, oncology. They're going to have a full service, basically oncology infusion center. Oncologists coming to town once a week, and that's a big deal to make hopefully quality care more accessible here in Troy.
All right, we're talking about cancer, is that right?
That's right.
And does that mean they can get treated here in town?
That's exactly right, yes, sir.
And that means a lot.
Oh, when you're talking about infusions where people are having chemo infusions once a week, or at times more than that, driving an hour and a half out of the way to get an infusion when you really don't feel good.
Isn't that unreal?
So they've got a brand new infusion center that's going to get off the ground before too long here.
That's going to really help Troy. Does that excite you?
Oh, absolutely.
And of course, the better care for our patients out there. And I know I've been a beneficiary, and I appreciate it. We got some calls coming in. We appreciate y'all coming in this morning, and welcome to Troy. And of course, this guy here is a good guy to go to work with, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I really feel like I'm at home.
Demeanor.
Yes, sir.
And you know what I mean? That's treating patients like you love them, and that's what he does.
Well, and I'll tell you, and it's not just the physician, the medical assistants, the lab techs, the front desk. an office is about the whole office.
Yeah.
And so, it really makes me proud when I see a patient and they say, hey, by the way, Ronald or Carrie called me the other day and it really meant a lot to me. And we've got a lot to be proud of.
Yeah. I tell you what, me personally, I feel like I'm as well taken care of as I can be by going to you as my doctor, my primary doctor. And I appreciate you very much.
Well, I appreciate
Thank you for coming,
too.
my friend.
God bless you. Thank you.
And I hope y'all come back soon. And of course, tell us the name of your practice and how to get in touch with you.
Southern
and
Health.
Are you accepting new patients? Don't you ever get to the point where I don't want to ever hear this. We are not not taking new patients.
Well, that's one of the reasons they brought me in.
Exactly
they
right.
needed.
And I'm glad. Tell us how they can get up with you.
Southern Health Associates. Phone number for the office is 566-9800. And we are absolutely taking new patients, and we're grateful to have Dr. Behringer to help in accepting new patients.
And they're located right next to the ball field on Franklin Drive.
Exactly.
And of course, there's a new facility going up right down the street.
There is. There's a new
Tell us
dialysis.
about
Dialysis center. I've not been over there to
That's
to
another
see it.
important thing to have in Troy. Isn't that right?
When we talk about chronic care and patients are living longer and sort of the plight of diabetes and hypertension, chronic kidney disease, and end-stage renal disease, we're very fortunate to have that, and there's a great demand for it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds great. Again, thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Eric Law and Dr. Melissa Behringer. Welcome to Troy, Alabama, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll be back to more of Today in LA right after this.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Are you girls ready?
We've been ready. Let's do this party. Shh, it's supposed to be pride.
So guys, is it time yet? Well, what's going on? It's a big celebration.
It's our 1-year anniversary.
The party is on.
Let's get this party started.
Party!
Thank you, Troy,
For your business and making our first year in Troy a huge success.
Surprise!
Just remember, nobody beats Premier Deal.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
A personal touch. A high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Max trying to get through.
Well, it's Max. You're on there.
Yeah, I'm on there. Back to our show. War Eagle. The Auburn Tigers trying to get back on the winning trail again this weekend. It's Auburn getting ready for Arkansas. And that is a 6 o'clock kickoff from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. Auburn and Arkansas, and of course Arkansas off to a very slow start. Auburn, of course, lost a heartbreaker, and I mean a heartbreaker, this past weekend against LSU, and now I know the Auburn faithful is trying to recruit for a little bit and get back ready to make a big run at this SEC championship, and I'm sure they will, no question about it. Somebody's hiding behind old Albie here, and I don't know what he wants, but hey, he wants something. And look who it is. Good morning. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max. How you
All right, Max. I know you've heard this sound before. And those guys in Mississippi don't want to hear it again, do they? Oh, Big Al and Albee here on our show. Alabama kicks off against Texas A&M in what should be a huge, huge football game this weekend in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And Max, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Mike. How's everything in T-Roy?
Doing fine.
This past week?
Doing fine. I'm going to put you on hold 1 second, and then I'm going to come back and get you.
Okay.
All right, let's see here. All right, is that you or Mike?
This is me.
All right, good morning. All right, and one more time here. And good morning, Mike. How you doing? Hello, hello. Well, let's see here. Good morning. Are you on?
Mike Amos, Will Matthews.
Will Matthews. I'm going to put you on with Max Howell in a second here.
All right.
All right, are we, Max, are you on?
I'm right here, yes.
Okay, I got Will Matthews. Hold on a second. All right, we'll stay right here. Good morning. Max Howell is on the phone. Max, what's going on? Hello, Will?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I lost Max.
Let me give you my 6 games because I'm going to my judges meeting tomorrow. I might not be able to call.
Okay, give them to us.
All right, I like Michigan minus 19 against Nebraska.
All right, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back with you. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when you're trying to work on machinery, let's see here. I'll put you on hold. I got you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold. Good morning, Max. Sorry about that.
I'm back.
And I'm trying to bring in Will right this second. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. That's got you, Will? All right, Max, are you on? Hello?
Will's here.
All right, here we go. Well, go ahead, Will.
All right, we got Michigan minus 19 against Nebraska.
Okay.
Georgia minus 13.5 to Missouri.
Okay.
Texas A&M plus 28 against Alabama.
Whoa, okay.
I think Alabama will beat them, but not 4 touchdowns.
Okay.
Texas plus 4 against TCU at home.
All right, okay.
Mississippi State minus 10 against Kentucky. That's my best one of the week.
Okay.
And my second best one of the week is Stanford plus 3 against Oregon.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, no question about it. I do too.
To win that game.
Okay, good. All right, Will, I appreciate it. How's that thing going?
Everything's fine. Tell Max, hey, when you get him back on.
All right. Will do, man. We appreciate you calling.
All right, see you, buddy.
Thank you. Max Howell, good morning. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max again.
I know it, Max, I could have thrown a rock and hit you coming back from Nebraska. We drove back through Memphis, and I saw I could have almost dropped by to see you. How's everything going?
Oh, man, it's rolling, man. You know, we got our youth station up and running, and certainly that takes about 15 hours a day, but it's been well received, Mike. We're doing very well with that youth station.
Now, is there any way we can see it over here?
Yeah, we're streaming now off our website.
Okay, good. And what is that off the website?
All right, it's ESPN-MISS, ESPN Mississippi, ESPN-MISS.com.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
And we stream 24/7, so everything we have up is streaming live all over the world.
I haven't talked to you since the big weekend. Tell us what all went out.
Mike, that was I would take nothing for having been that, and I thank you for the opportunity to come. And I mean, it was so rewarding to see some of those guys. Like some of those guys I've not seen in 50 years. I mean, we had such a great time. We had 38 out of our original 45 showed up, and many of them brought their wives, and it was just a reunion. You know, I was lost for words for some of those guys, and you know, I recognize most of them. You know, some had changed a little, but the stories we told, and then you know how it is the older you get, sometimes you don't remember the story just like somebody else does. And so we spent hours just reminiscing about games we played in and events that happened during that time at Troy.
Well, I know this. You were a busy man. It seemed like every time I saw you, you had people all around you. And, of course, the T Club was there to help put that on. Of course, Troy University Alumni Affairs, Faith Ward and her staff did a great job with the dinner and a lot of the other things. And the athletic department, I think y'all were well received, my friend.
Oh, I don't think it's that. I have to say this, Mike, and I've said it over to others as I've talked with them in the last 2 weeks. Dr. Jack Hawkins gave as good of an overview of the program, where it was before we got there and where it is now. It plugged us right at the base of it. And I think, you know, we'd heard before that a lot of the younger guys didn't remember, and certainly they wouldn't because they weren't around, but they sometimes fail to mention that the base that was laid by Billy Atkins and the team. And Jack Hawkins brought that to our attention on Friday night. It was about 15, 20-minute talk, but really, really got everybody's attention. We can't thank him enough.
Well, you know, if it doesn't happen at the top, it doesn't happen. Don't you agree?
You're absolutely right.
And, you know,
right.
you could...
everything in business and sports and everywhere else.
Yeah. But you could have a chancellor that didn't care about sports or they didn't put a lot of emphasis on sports. And you can see universities all over this country that run their schools like that, but it seems the ones that are being very successful are the ones that have the good education and the good sports. Don't you agree?
No doubt about that, Mike. That's it. Now, I've done some checking history. I'm a big history buff, and I love to go into those programs like Southern Cal and Texas and Oklahoma and watch some cycles run, and even Alabama. When they've been down, normally it's somewhere at the top at the administrative. They don't put it quite as much emphasis, but when they get a new chancellor, a new president in that really wants to make the combination work, build the endowment program, build a strong educational background and offerings, and then have a strong athletic department, those are the ultra successful programs.
You know, a lot of those players that came in, we're talking about from, ladies and gentlemen, the Troy teams from 1966 when Billy Atkins and Max Howell first came to Troy. And the program today, you know, there are a few guys that hadn't even been back in 40 or 50 years, and they see our program and they can't believe it. But it's all because the man at the top and the supporters wanted it to happen. You know, if we have not fought to be Division I to be Division I and play with the big boys, we'd be just out there. We wouldn't. But now we're getting exposure like this university has never received before, and a lot of it was this past weekend. You go to Nebraska and beat Nebraska in front of 90,000 fans, and the whole world's going to know it. Isn't that right?
Well, I think the whole world knew it, man. I mean, I watched every snap on TV because it was televised around the country, and then of course the aftermath from that is what you're going to reap from that. Not only exposure for the athletic department, but the university gets exposure.
Oh, unreal. Kids start saying Troy, Alabama, bigger and better.
Right, and here's the thing that Jack Hawkins told us, Mike, the other night. He said because of the groundwork that was laid, the national attention that Troy got in those days was the start of letting everybody in the country realize that small rural schools in the South could gain national reputations. And that was the point he was trying to make. And really, that speech should really be put out to all the major institutions across the country, particularly the smaller schools.
You watched the game. I really thought Troy had a better football team. What was your
He
feeling?
was in doubt. Hey, Nebraska never led in that ball game, Mike.
And
Troy kept the lead the whole time.
And everybody said, look how huge those guys are. We were down at field level before the game. You know, Nebraska is one of the last places that you can go down to field level and see the guys up close and personal. And they are as pretty as any team in college football, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I don't think it. I mean, I used to go, when I was at Mississippi to Nebraska to look at their weight program. That was back in the 60s when really weight programs were just coming into being.
They were the innovator, weren't they?
Big time, man. I mean, they started that whole movement about building big-time weight programs and taking the off-season program to another level. And so, of course, they never stopped. Sometimes I think some of the other teams around the country has caught up with them in recruiting talent. But in those days, Coach Devaney, Tom Osborne, I mean, they built a national power. And certainly that recognition still takes, is still out there. And for Troy to go into Lincoln and win that ball game, I mean, last year when LSU was big, and Missouri was big, and Mississippi State was big, but in the current atmosphere we have today, that was as big a win as you could get, I think.
Max, what impressed you about Troy more than anything? I didn't think we played our best offensive game. I felt like our quarterback should have called his own number more than he did.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you got two that can play. I think so. I think Coach Brown got excited a couple of times on some of those calls they had.
But you know what? One of the times where, and of course it was an obvious fumble recovery that it didn't give to Troy, but that was a good time. He had them backed up, and it was a good time if you were going to get a 15-yard penalty called. And I thought the timing was pretty good because after that, Troy was on fire.
They really were. And, sometimes, a head coach has to play a lot of roles, Mike. You know this. And sometimes you got to overreact. And I've heard others say, oh, man, you got to stay calm. And look, coaches are human. If you don't get emotionally involved in a ball game, then, you're going to lose a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think you lose something there along the way. Neil Brown covers it. I think he covers the whole spectrum of emotion when he coached on the sideline. Obviously, it's been very successful for him.
Yeah. Now, on your show on ESPN, do you get many calls from SEC schools that?
Oh yeah, we get them from everywhere. We get them. Once we start streaming, I get them from Atlanta, from Memphis, from Dallas. People I've known through the years. See, once we get to, but now we're on a register for ESPN about the North Mississippi the station that can cover schools in we cover Memphis and Arkansas and Ole Miss, Mississippi State, certainly Alabama and Auburn. We cover kind of the southeast.
Yeah.
We're going to do. I got Buddy Martin on today. He's been the voice of the Florida Gators for a year. He wrote the book on Urban Meyer. Wrote the book on Steve Spurrier. He'll be on today. Tim Brando joins us tomorrow. I had Pete Jenkins on this past week, Lynn Starver from Lindy's Magazine. We reach out to a lot of people that this market has not heard from on a personal basis.
No question about it, and you're right in the middle of the Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Mississippi State is for real, man. They look awfully good. They're gonna play Alabama tough on down the road.
Yeah, let me tell you what though, they got to go to Lexington, Kentucky Saturday.
And they're much more physical than they've been being. Is that right?
That's right. That's going to be a really, really good ball game. Of course, Matt White, who's the color analyst for them, is on our show. I mean, he's on our station. He does a 2-hour show before I come in. So
is he on Mississippi State?
We reached out and and touched a lot of people.
Yeah, I got you. No question about it. Max Howell is our guest, and we're talking football. And right now, of course, everybody's talking about Alabama, and boy, Ole Miss had to be embarrassed this weekend.
They were. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But Mike, I went back. My show yesterday was so we get a lot of. I'm right between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I'm in Tupelo. It's 50 miles to each school, so I get a lot of calls and a lot of interest, obviously, for both programs. So I took the recruiting list for the last 4 years, and I broke down the number of players that Alabama has and where they came from, and I did the same thing for Ole Miss. Now, you have to understand Ole Miss, through their own creation, calls a probation, and they've been down as far as the numbers are concerned, but they cause that. I mean, they stepped outside the rules, and They broke the rules, and NCAA slapped them for it. But when you compare the two, here's what you got. You got Alabama at the top, the best recruiting class over the last 5 years of anybody in college football. The most kids going to the NFL and in any one school in the country. You got Ole Miss at the bottom, and that's the ability and the talent level discrepancy. So really, if you stop and look at it that way, that game Saturday was no surprise. I know that Ole Miss fans were all excited and all until after the first play. But you go back and look at the stats after the first play. Alabama shut them down completely. And so, I talked with some coaches yesterday over there. They put that behind them. They got Kent State coming in. They're 30-point favorite over that this weekend. They can still have a decent year. A decent, breaks maybe 6 wins. Maybe they can't go to a bowl again this year.
I think that if you're right, if they can go 6-6, their fans ought to be happy.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Mike, and I think that's the underlying. Now you know this. Every school's got those guys that's got the what I call blind loyalists. That you can't, everything is always right about them, and nothing's ever wrong. And every school's got a few of those. But the realistic situation is that Ole Miss has lost its identity. They don't know what their mascot ought to be. They go from one extreme to another, and I believe that on leadership at the top. You mentioned that going in.
All right.
By the way, the current president did not get his new contract renewed, so they'll be in the process of trying to find a new administrator at the top. And I hope, for goodness sake, that they get somebody that's not quite so liberal and really have an interest in athletics.
No question. Max, it's easy to say, and ladies and gentlemen, these are the only teams right now, in my opinion, can hold their own with an Alabama or Ohio State or Clemson. Looking at Alabama being very strong up front on both sides of the ball. Some other teams that looks like they can play with them is Ohio State. Wouldn't you say they were strong on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think so. And of course they've had their problems with Urban Meyer, and I don't know how much. And they really haven't played anybody yet. They had to come from behind this past week to beat TCU. I think they can be a competitor.
And they might be in the bottom of these 8 teams.
Yeah,
but now Penn State's got to impress you a little bit. They look pretty good.
Yeah, but they won't be. They will have the depth to play out level.
All right, but teams that are strong up front and are playing very good. Georgia is playing very well right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they are. I think that'll end up. The championship game could be Alabama-Georgia again this year, Mike.
Yeah, and then of course Clemson.
This is what I based. I did every school in the Southeastern Conference on the recruiting over the last 5 years. I did a 2-hour show yesterday on just that.
Yeah.
Georgia is by far the only other team. Clemson is going to be there close, but they haven't played very well either. I watched them in that game against A&M, and they played well. A&M probably should have won the game. But Clemson's going to be in the top 4, unless they lay down.
Of course, LSU is strong up front on both sides of the ball, but they're probably not going to have the offense that's going to take them to the big game.
And look, you got to give it to them. Mike, they went on the road and beat Miami, who was number 7 in the country. They went on the road and beat Auburn, who was number 8 in the country. They deserve to be where they are right now.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let's watch them every week in and week out. Yeah. As they move forward. And, let's see. The measure 6 going to be when they play Alabama.
Yeah. Auburn's strong on both sides of the ball, except they need to improve their running game. That's what's hurting them right now. And then Mississippi State, you got to throw them in there. They're strong up front, big and strong up front, and they've got the offense. Mississippi State might surprise a lot of folks.
Mike, I tell you that we're gonna get a good read of how good their defense is this week against Kentucky, because they haven't seen a quarterback like Terry Wilson.
Yeah.
Terry Wilson's a running quarterback, 4-3 guy, and they run basically the same offense Troy runs. They're going to use a read option, and Kentucky does, and we're going to see. Just how good Mississippi State is. I think they're very good. Don't get me wrong, but Mississippi State hasn't been tested yet. So their first 30, 35 kids can play. Of course, I talk to Matt all the time about it. What they're concerned is when they play the Alabamas and the LSU's of about that depth? What about those third and, those threes and fours in the fourth quarter? Can they come in and give them some help?
Boy, I had a big, fine steak at right there in Tupelo this weekend. I should have called and got you to come on over and enjoy it with us. It was at Texas, the Texas
Roadhouse.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed that restaurant where it shows you the steak you're going to eat. Is that right?
Yeah, and listen, if I'd have known you was there, I'd have been there.
Well, you know what? The girls started dancing. All the waitresses started dancing. Man, I said, that's a great place.
It is. They do.
I know it. I should have called you. It'd have been a great time
I wish you had. Yeah, but I'm 25 minutes from there.
We were road logged. You know what I mean by road logged? We were road logged. We've been driving so long.
That's a long ride. Now, you going to Louisiana Monroe this weekend?
Yes, I am. In fact, we're bringing a bus. We're taking a bus. We're leaving out of here at 6 o'clock Saturday morning and going to stay in Vicksburg, and then drive over for the game, and then come back and spend the night in Vicksburg and drive back Sunday morning.
That'll be a good trip.
And I tell you, Troy better watch out. Louisiana Monroe pretty good, aren't they?
Well, see, they are. And remember last year they had a big win over LSU. What happened next week against South Alabama? They didn't quite step up to the table. Louisiana Monroe fell to South Alabama.
Yeah, I know it. I realize that.
So they'll have their work cut out. I know Coach Brown and his staff will remind them of that from last year.
No question about it.
They've got their work cut out. I've looked at the schedule, Mike. They got a chance to go live in Wood again this year, and I really hope they'll really focus in on that and do that daily preparation. You got to have amnesia at that level, Mike. Regardless of how good or how bad you played the week before, when that game's over, you got to forget that, because the next challenge is who you play the next Saturday.
I agree, no question about it, Coach. Max Howell calling us from Fulton, Mississippi this morning, and of course he's busy as he can be. But again, if I had to name a surprise team, and like you said, we're going to find out a lot about them against Kentucky. If Mississippi State does go to Kentucky and win that football game, look out. They could be hard to beat, don't you think?
They will. And they're 10-point favorite going in, Mike, already.
But
they came out of the baseball game this past week with no injuries. They scored 56 points again. That's 2 times they've been over 50 this year. And they've got it going now. I question a little bit about the hire with Joe Moorhead coming from Penn State. He didn't have any Southern ties. He brought 4 or 5 guys from Fordham University and some of those guys, another guy from Penn State down to a very Southern state. Never been to Starkville, by the way, until he was hired. So, but he has adjusted as well as any new coach I've seen.
Well,
he maintained a couple of guys off Dan Mullen's staff to help recruit, and they put together a nice package.
Didn't hurt they had the quarterback back too, isn't that right?
Oh, listen, Nick Fitzgerald. Now, here's what you got to remember. Fitzgerald is a freshman, led the Southeastern Conference in total yardage.
Yeah.
Passing and running out. Last year he got hurt, of course, at the end of the season. He didn't go through spring. Didn't go through. He was dismissed or suspended for the first ball game for some things that he wasn't following his routine. Is what it amounted to. But he came back when they went to Kansas. He went out to Kansas State and they put something on Neal real quick. Of course, they came back and scored, I guess, 56-10 or something like that this weekend. And he's ready. He's 6'5". He's 240 pounds, and he runs the read option. And just think about, you break the line of scrimmage, you got a 5'10", 185-pound defensive back wants to come up and tackle. He doesn't do too well, Mike.
You're right. No question about it. Now, it's still tough to win on the road in college football. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. To me, Mike, when you look at the big picture, of all the teams, those road teams that can go and win on the road, and I think Troy is a great example. To me, that just tells you really how good those teams are. Traveling with a football team, look, like you understand just from a personal standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
About having to take 85 or 75 kids on a trip like that.
And, they still have to go through all of the same stuff people do on regular flights when they fly. They have to go through security and all that and sit around a lot and all that. You're right. It gets tiring, and and that other team sleeping in their own bed, you know, eating in their own facility. You know, it's a big difference.
It really is, Mike, and you got to admire, you know, a team that can. And then you look at the scheduling around the country now because of TV, because of big dollars you get from traveling. You know, it's more and more teams are willing to take those trips. Because, you know, but basically it hits their budget.
Yeah.
What I call sharing the wealth. It is, and certainly these guys, these coaches that put those packages together to travel and then go out and win the ball game, really to be admired.
No question about it. You know, another big one on the road this weekend is Missouri. You know, they're pretty good and they can score. They're hosting Georgia. Do you think Georgia will run away with it, or do you think Missouri will play them tough?
No, I think Missouri. I don't think Georgia will win the ball game. Here's what I'm looking on that one. Missouri's defense is very, you know, they aren't very good. The stats on the inside. They went in Purdue this past weekend, big Purdue, but Purdue's 1-4 or 1-3 right now. So they won by 3 points. That was the line, and they covered. Now they come back home to Columbia, which they do play pretty well. The strength there is their offense. Gulak, the quarterback, he might be the best quarterback. He's got the best stats in the conference right now. And then they're both wide receivers, Mike, are 6'6".
Yeah.
They both run 4-5. I mean, they're NFL guys. Now, can Georgia score enough, you know, to offset that? But I think Missouri's going to score.
Yeah.
I'm looking to watch to see how Georgia handles that. Georgia's the best team in the East, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're the second best team in the SEC right now.
All right, now before we close, what in the world has happened to Arkansas? And you know, Auburn's going to be sitting there waiting for them. I look for Auburn maybe to score 50 on them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they certainly got a chance. Here's two things, and I got a guy that one of my business partners over the last few years is out there now, and he covers Arkansas. He manages 3 big radio stations in that market in Fayetteville. And I talk to him every 2 or 3 days about that. He's on the practice field every day. He writes about him. He does the interviews. 2 things has happened. One, Chad Morris came in with he's the one that built Clemson's offense and won the first national championship for Clemson. He's coached in Texas for 15 years. He's got a great credentials in the read option offense. He signed a couple of kids that can run that. But what he inherited, Mike, was a whole different group of kids from Bielema that they fired. The big 350-pound lineman that can't run, the big running backs. The quarterback was 6'7" and 200 pounds. And he threw 4 picks this past weekend. And by the way, he won't start against
Hopefully he won't.
Yeah, they are going to start a sophomore kid in Story, and he's pretty proficient. But what he inherited was guys that didn't have any discipline. They weren't used to winning. They weren't used to being pushed on the practice field. And Chad Morris has come in there and revamped that whole philosophy. If they're going to struggle this year, they may win 2 or 3, in all fairness. But guys, down the road, he's going to build a program. He's got a solid contract. I think he'll get. Here's another thing, Mike, that people do not understand. You know, it is hard to recruit to the University of Arkansas because of where they are. They're in the Ozark Mountains in the northwest corner of Arkansas. It's closer to Tulsa, Oklahoma than it is to Little Rock, Arkansas, from Fayetteville. And people don't understand it's really the social life up there is very, I don't know how to say that.
It's really a hard place to get players, isn't it?
It is. Well, you can't get them. I'll be honest with you. You can't get great players to go to a school like that. They play in the SEC.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think it's going to be, to answer your question, it's going to be 2 or 3 years. Auburn should really get healthy from this past weekend.
No question about it.
Playing at home, and I think they'll do it.
Max, thank you so much. Watch for dinner, Max. Watch for dinner.
Let me tell you, I got to always go back to my bases. I cooked some ribeye steaks this past Sunday night. Mike, I have a special cut. Remember, our station's in a grocery store now.
Yeah.
So I just go back to the meat market and have about 1.5 inches, man, and I get up off the big loins, and you talk about good. I flip them a couple of times. I sear the outside, move them over, most of the guys I cook for are like a rare to medium rare. So it didn't take about 15 minutes to do them. Flip them a couple of times. I marinate them basically in a Worcestershire, black pepper and garlic. On the side, we'll have the traditional. I'll do either a half salad, or sometimes I do a potato salad, a mustard base on that. I do garlic bread. Sometimes I throw corn on the cob. And then let me throw this in right quick. I found a new way to do corn on the cob. I'll take the opposite shove, and I don't put butter and black pepper like a lot of people. I bathe it in mayonnaise and roll it tight in tin foil. Keep it on the grill for about 15 to 20 minutes, and when you take it out, I can't tell you how much better it is than put butter on it.
Mayonnaise instead of butter.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. The oil in the mayonnaise keeps the kernels really soft.
Yeah.
And the mayonnaise taste just goes in.
Is that Silver Queen corn?
Absolutely.
Auburn corn, Silver Queen.
Yeah, and then of course we always go with one or two of my best desserts for this guy. They either like my banana pudding, right? And some now they don't like it cold; they like it warm from the oven, sprinkled with pecans. Or their favorite is my Mississippi mud pie, which is a 3-layer chocolate syrup, top it with pecans and vanilla ice cream.
Great. Thank you, Max. We always enjoy you. We appreciate you very much, and hope to see you soon. And hey, go Trojans, and good luck to you this week.
Thanks so much, Mike. Good luck to the Trojans, and certainly always appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi, and we're going to take a short break on the Troy Trojan Football Network, and we'll hear from the Trojans right after this.
At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military. That's right, not a $1,000 sign-on bonus, but $1,200 sign-on bonus at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Come visit Troy Nissan with a new modern look and same great staff. We are dedicated to providing you with an excellent customer experience. Shop us online at www.troynissaninc.com. Free oil changes for life on all new vehicles. Thanks for being a part of our family. Troy Nissan.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
When it comes to surgical services, Troy Regional Medical Center offers state-of-the-art equipment.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Gill. Here in Troy, our team works together to provide you state-of-the-art colonoscopies and upper endoscopies. Troy Regional Medical Center is one of 3 hospitals in the entire state that uses the newest Fuse endoscopy system. This provides an expanded split-screen view. Your surgeon and staff using the newest technology for all your colonoscopy needs.
Troy Regional Medical Center. Remarkable people, remarkable care.
At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military. That's right, not a $1,000 sign-on bonus, but $1,200 sign-on bonus at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support the military.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Back to our show, brought to you by Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy, and all my good friends out there. And right now, they've got some great deals on Ford cars and trucks today at Pike County Ford, and of course my good friend there, and we appreciate them. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, morning.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. I had Max Howell on, and had a real good session with him, and had my good Dr. Law on, and his new doctor, Dr. Behringer. So we've had a good morning.
Max has got a new radio show up in, Tupelo, Mississippi?
That's right, and they're doing real well from what I gather.
Yeah, I've been following him on Facebook.
So you picked him up and everything?
Well, I mean, I can just see him, talk about who's the guest and stuff like that.
Mike Amos, of course.
Max has been on radio shows all over the Southeast. I mean, he's more experienced than probably anybody out there.
People don't realize, you're right, a lot of people don't realize how successful.
He's been doing it as long as Bomb Bomb has.
That's right, he's been in a long time. Piggly Wiggly, Mike, has their ribeye steaks on sale, $7.99 a pound on their boneless ribeye steaks. They've got fresh boneless fryer breast. Now, this is a great deal now here. 99 cents a pound, and also fresh bottom butt pork roast, also on sale, $1.15 a pound. Fresh fryer leg quarters, $3.95 a pound in a 10-pound bag. And then lean pork steaks or country ribs, my favorite country ribs, just $1.49 a pound. And, of course, Ziegler's bologna, also Wright sliced bacon, 40 ounces now for $9.98, and Bar S sliced ham and turkey, just 2 for $5, and of course some great buys throughout the store. Cost plus 10% at Piggly Wiggly on North 39th Street in Troy and in the Marketplace Shopping Center. What's going on, Mike?
Not much. Just getting ready for another exciting week of football. There's not really any great games.
Not many games that jump out. Do you think Texas might be turning?
Watch Texas A&M and Alabama.
Do you think Texas might be turning around a little bit? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they still lost to Maryland, which I don't think is a great Maryland team. Maryland got beaten at home by Temple. Temple got beat at home by Villanova. So I don't know. I guess my biggest concern of the weekend is Troy. Trying to come.
And they better be careful here because Monroe's got some firepower too.
Yeah, they got a really good quarterback, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, Auburn's going to have a cupcake game against Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas, a lot of people think will go 1-11 this year.
Yeah, they're not very good. Mike, I want to mention, Sumter, the Troy kicker, was one of the players of the week in the Sun Belt Conference. He said, so was everyone watching as Sumter launched a 79-yard punt into the end zone for a touchback. He said that's the longest punt I've ever had, talking about Sumter. Sumter said. He said in high school or anywhere, he said, Sumter kicked for Spain Park in Birmingham. A lot of people that don't know about Spain Park, Mike, you can take the Hoovers and you can take the Mountain Brooks and the Vestavias, but none are more impressive than Spain Park. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Spain Park's huge. It's
looks like a college, they say.
Yeah, that's off Valley Dale Road, exit off 280. It is a huge school.
And of course, his kick.
There is a really good game on Friday night, which I definitely wouldn't mind watching. Of course, you'll probably be at the Charles Henderson game, but Florida Atlantic and Lane Kiffin will play at Central Florida, so that'll be a good game Friday night.
Yeah, and somebody needs to knock Central Florida off. They've got a long winning streak right now, don't they?
Yeah, and then you got Penn State at Illinois, and then you got Washington State at USC. So you actually have 3 decent games on Friday night.
That ought to be a high-scoring game.
Thursday night game is absolutely horrible. You got Tulsa at Temple. Who wants to watch that?
I know it. But that's what the great thing is about college football. You get a chance to expose yourself a little bit. Want to look at?
Yeah, I mean, right now the line on the Troy game is basically at 6-7. So I don't know what it'll be at kickoff, but a a lot of people are
that gives that's showing Monroe's got some respect out there, don't you think?
It actually started at 7, now it's down to 5.5. So a lot of people are jumping on Monroe.
Yeah, no question about it. A lot of people look at what Troy's done after big wins over the years, you know.
Alabama line started at 23.5 and it's at 27.
So it's gone up.
Amazing line against Texas A&M, who almost beat Clemson.
What is the Auburn line right now?
Auburn line's at 27.5, I think, too.
They're going to kill Arkansas, don't you think?
You would think so. Actually, Auburn line's more than that. It was at 27.5. Started at 24. It's gone all the way up to 30.
Oh, man. I knew it would jump way up there. No respect at all for Arkansas. Of course, other games, West Virginia, somebody needs to beat West Virginia. They're playing Kansas State at home. Do you give Kansas State a chance at all?
No, I don't think so. I watch Kansas State a lot against Mississippi State. Of course, Mississippi State's got a good defense, but I don't think they have enough offense to keep up with West Virginia.
I tell you a game that a lot of people are not.
That might be good is Kentucky hosting Mississippi State. That might be a good game.
You know, everybody thinks Kentucky's gotten stronger. Boy, I tell you though, Mississippi State's impressive, Mike. Really impressive.
Yeah, their defensive front and offensive line are huge. I mean, they got 3 guys on their defensive front that could be, first or second round picks in the draft.
Everybody's talking about how good this quarterback is at Kentucky, but he's not going to be able to do much against that front of Mississippi State. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Fitzgerald's still got to get better as a passer for Mississippi State, but they got a junior college running back that came in that looks pretty good too. Big, strong running back. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Is there any news on the suspensions at Troy with Samuels and?
No, but the way Smith is playing.
Timetable when they'll come back.
I don't know. The way Smith is playing, they don't care whether they come back or not. I don't think. I hate it.
Samuels at the slot receiver, I think, can really help Troy.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
I think they could use another guy on offense.
Well, hopefully they'll be at full strength. And of course, another college game, Mike, that is big in the Big Ten is Iowa and Wisconsin. Somebody needs to beat Iowa here. What do you think?
I think somebody will beat Iowa. I'm not concerned about that. Wisconsin going down to BYU is still a shocker. But Iowa.
Somebody told me though another chip shot field goal was missed.
No, it wasn't chip shot. That's 42 yards.
Was it? And was it close?
Yeah. No, it wasn't close. And it was a kicker that had been starting for 4 years.
Yeah. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, another big weekend. Of course,
we mentioned yesterday Carlson got fired and lost his job with the Minnesota Vikings. It'll be interesting to see if he gets picked up.
I hope he will. I think people realize that he's one of the great college kickers of all time, and it's a difference. College and pros is a difference as far as there's so many people.
Now since they moved the extra point back to the 33-yard line, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame now.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. And, we're taking a look at this weekend and Troy going to Louisiana Monroe, in Monroe, Louisiana.
I think it makes it tougher with that being a night game over there as well.
Yeah. And they've got a quarterback that can really throw it. And somebody told me they played Texas A&M a lot closer than people realize.
Well, they got beat 48-10. They couldn't put it in.
It was 48-10. I thought it was closer than that.
No, they didn't come close to covering.
Yeah.
Almost 27.
Mike, there are 8 teams, I think, and I was talking about them more in the last show, that I think that are really good football teams out there. Of course, Alabama number 1. I mean, these are teams that are big and strong that could possibly play against Alabama. Georgia, would you say they were big and strong and could play straight up with Alabama?
Well, I mean, everybody thinks it's going to be Alabama and Georgia playing for, in the SEC championship. And a lot of people think right now, even if the loser of that game would probably still make the playoffs.
How about LSU?
I still don't believe in LSU. I don't think they're as good as people make them out to be. I really don't.
And then, of course,
if you watch that Auburn game against them, they got several calls late in that game that extended drives, and I mean Auburn choked it away. I mean, don't get me wrong, but still, I mean,
Should Auburn have won that game?
Well, I mean, they should have, but the referees, call a lot of calls, and LSU did convert a 4th and 8 when they had to. But I mean, Auburn's offensive play calling in that game, I've been pretty impressed with Chip Lindsey, but man, it was not good in that game.
Of course, another team that is very impressive is Penn State. What do you think about them? Do you think they could play with Alabama?
No. You think a team that goes to overtime with Appalachian State can play with Alabama?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking you. Evidently you don't think so. Now,
for next year, did you know Auburn opens the season next year with Oregon at Arlington?
No, I didn't know that. Auburn, of course, I think still can.
Next year, that's something really rare. Auburn and Alabama will have 2 bye weeks next year.
Oh boy!
So anybody wanting to go to the beach, you'll have bye weeks to go and go down to the coast.
Of course, Auburn is another.
Going to play Stanford. I know that makes you feel good.
Oh me! Poor old Troy. Poor old Troy gets no.
Tulane, Kent State, and Stanford.
Yeah. Well, they think what happened to them, what happened to Nebraska could happen to them. If Troy could beat Nebraska at Nebraska, don't you think Troy could play straight up? Not saying they'd beat them, but play straight up with Auburn at home.
Some random guy called in from Austin, Texas, when I was listening to Feinbaum yesterday, and he said, I'm a Longhorn fan, but he said, I tell you what, nobody in non-conference is ever going to want to schedule Troy again. They go and beat LSU last year, and they beat Nebraska last year.
That's right.
Started talking about Troy. What they've done in the past. So,
why did Feinbaum talk about Troy?
Yeah, Feinbaum was talking about Troy. About when they beat Missouri and Oklahoma State, beat Mississippi State, stuff like that. So I mean.
Of course, Ohio State finds a way to win. What do you think about them?
Ohio State's the real deal. I think that's the only team other than Georgia that can play with Alabama.
And they're very well coached, too.
2 big physical running backs and a big, strong defensive line, big offensive line. And they're fast, too.
Yeah. Now, Clemson might have showed.
They ran away with it from TCU.
Yeah. Clemson might have showed their number a little bit this week, don't you think?
I don't think Clemson's offensive line is that great when I've been watching them this year. And they can't make them mind on quarterback right now either.
That's right. Now, one of the quarterbacks got hurt, though, didn't he?
No, nobody got hurt.
Oh, okay. And, of course,
I'll say this. They play in such a weak league, the ACC. I mean, who knows? That North Carolina job will definitely be coming over.
Yeah.
So you got to look at
Yeah, that's exactly. You know what? When I saw that, and that place is wide open, and, that.
What a beautiful place to live.
Man.
My God, Chapel Hill's more prettier place.
And a pretty good place to recruit athletes, too, no question.
Of course, Vic Tony's already been there as their defensive coordinator for 3 or 4 years already.
Yeah. I tell you what, right now, Troy's been well coached, and they were out on the practice field yesterday for a long time, and, this young coaching staff, I think right now in the offensive line and the defense, and then on the defensive side of the ball, I think Troy and with their head coach, calling the plays, Troy is very well coached at those positions.
Yeah, it's been amazing. We had a guy starting at center for 4 years, and that Bradshaw kid has come in and splitting reps at center even.
Well, I saw him yesterday at the grocery store. The Cromrati, is that his name? What's Troy Center's name?
That's his name.
Yeah, Cromrati. Saw him at the grocery store yesterday, and I asked him. I said, "Man, you're looking good. How do you?" I said, "It might have been on Sunday," and he said, "Yeah, we're ready." No, not Sunday, but Monday. Monday. Saw him Monday at the grocery store, and boy, he's pretty. He's a good-looking player, and they seem to be very confident.
Well, that's one of those things where let's hope so. It's a big game. It's no doubt. Of course, it's the first conference game as well.
Yeah. Back to what we were talking about, I think Penn State's good. I think Georgia's good. I think LSU's good. Auburn's good. Ohio State, Clemson, and Mississippi State. And then, of course, Alabama. Alabama is out in front of all the rest.
I think Washington and Stanford will probably represent the Pac-12, but I don't know how many losses they'll have.
I quoted Johnny Williams, who I think probably knows as much about football as anybody. He thinks this Alabama team might be the best ever. Can you believe it?
I don't know if they're the best defense ever, but they're definitely the best offense I've seen up to this, the 3 games I've ever seen.
How did they get that guy behind the secondary on the first play of the game? He just outran him. He's an All-American, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a blown coverage.
But that guy's also an All-American, too, isn't he?
Yeah, they replaced that guy and put somebody bigger on him, and he didn't do anything the rest of the game.
Oh, is that right? And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready for a big weekend of high school and college football. Let's turn our focus a little bit toward golf.
It'd be interesting to see what Ole Miss decides to do, too, when their probation ends, if they'll keep that Luke guy or not.
I don't know. I think they'll make a move. I think Luke's an Ole Miss guy, but he way I look at it, could Luke sit down and look at a prime recruit straight ahead and say, "You come here, we'll win a national championship"?
Well,
I don't think he could ever say it.
At Ole Miss is something you're probably not going to do anyway. But I don't know. Coach Summerall left Troy and is coaching there, and that defense needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad.
Mike, Troy's Kentucky's offensive line coach who was at Troy for all these years is
Slarman.
Yeah, he's been sick, and I hope everybody out there will pray for him. He's had
Is he still able to coach, or is he
I don't know. I don't know if he's
step away?
I'm thinking he's still there, but he is sick, and hopefully we'll pray for him. And
he was at Troy for 7 years at least.
And was an outstanding coach, no question about it. Outstanding coach. Mike, a big weekend of of golf. Well, tell us about it. Starting tomorrow.
I mean, it's FedEx Cup Championship in Atlanta, and you got the top 30 golfers from this year. And basically, the top 5, if anybody in the top 5 finishes first, they win it all. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm sure I'll try to watch a little bit of it here and there, but it's kind of hard to watch on Saturdays and Sundays.
Let me ask this though: is this the World Golf Ranking, or is this the FedEx?
This is just the FedEx Cup ranking.
Yeah, the
Nothing
Cup
to do with
ranking.
the world rankings at all.
Exactly.
So this is just what guys have done this year.
Yeah. I want to congratulate Pike Liberal Arts, who is marching to a perfect 5-0 record right now. Is off to the best start since 2008 when they began at 6-0. The Patriots arrived one of their toughest tests of the season, or survived with a big 10-8 win over Macon East. So congratulations to Pike Liberal Arts. They're this week getting ready to play Abbeville Christian. So should be a good weekend for the Patriots.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's looks like they're definitely going to have one of their better teams. I guess it just comes down to what they do in the playoffs.
Of course, I want to mention Charles Henderson coming off the second worst loss in their school history. Plays a good Beauregard team. I'll tell you right now, Mike, Charles Henderson will beat Beauregard.
Well, let's hope so.
Let me tell you something. They say that this team that they lost to was one of the best looking. One guy told me it's the best high school team he'd ever seen. That was watching the ball game.
Good as those Blunt teams that used to come into Troy.
No, but this team came out of Anniston, Alabama, in that area.
But you got to remember how many great athletes were on those Blunt teams.
And right now, Oxford is 4-0 and number 2 in Class 6A behind Wetumpka. This week, Central Phoenix City is still number 1, followed by Hewitt-Trussville. Now, is Hewitt-Trussville the one that's got the great quarterback?
Yeah, the Tyson kid, Paul Bryant. Paul Bear Bryant's great grandson.
And they're 3-1, and then Thompson's 3-1. Auburn High School has a real good team. They're 4-0. Looking at 5A, Briarwood, Etowah, Viger, Jackson, and Demopolis, the top 5. Followed by
Demopolis is always good.
Yeah. Of course, a big game of the week. Tallahassee beat Carroll of Ozark, knocking them off for the first time, Mike, in regular season. I want to say something like 20 games, wasn't it? How big a street was that?
It's been long. I mean, I don't know. Les Peralta, I'm sure would know, but
Yeah.
it's been a long streak.
Of course, Class 4A has UMS Wright, Hoax Bluff, Hillcrest of Evergreen. Hillcrest lost to somebody recently. Fayette County is 4, Catholic of Montgomery is 5, Andalusia dropped all the way down to 9. Of course, UMS Wright's like playing a big school.
They recruit everybody they have.
Get
Terry
anybody they
Curtis
want.
has been there for years.
And sometimes I think they ought to make those schools play 6A or 7A, you know.
They did that to St. Paul. They made them play a 6A
I was wondering about that. And then, of
they
course,
moved them up.
Class 3A, the only Providence Christian is 10-0 and or 4-0 and ranked number 10, and that's Kenny.
I mean, one of the best teams.
King.
I mean, one of the best teams at 2A is right down the street, Luverne. They're going to have a great season. They're going to win it all.
Right now they're 3-0, and of course Fife's number 1 at 3-0. Then Reeltown is 4-0. Ohatchee is 3-0, and Thornsby is 4-0. But
I know the coach at Ohatchee. He's a really nice guy.
Goshen is still ranked with 2-1, and they're still ranked number 8. And Abbeville is also ranked number 10. Arrington's still receiving votes. Watch out for them. And of course, tonight is the coaches show, starting at 6:30 with Goshen. Carroll of Ozark, and then again at 6 o'clock with Charles Henderson. At 6:30, Goshen Review. At 7 o'clock, Pike Liberal Arts, and at 7:30, Arrington. The coaches show start tonight at 5:30. Hope you've enjoyed our show today. We appreciate you watching. Appreciate all our guests. And Mike, you ever stay on the line, if you will. We'll be back again today at 1:30 for our show. Good morning.
Troy Cable